Well, I never thought I'd be making a defense video for Edward Snowden, but the one thing I'm gonna ask you guys to forgive me on is that it's 1:11 in the morning where I am, and I'm a little bit tired and dehydrated. But I've been getting into this argument with a person about Edward Snowden, international security, and he keeps prompting this idea of, oh, well, he released data that put us at risk. And I'm like, show me the data then. Show me within this 3-year time span, right? Because it has been 3 years. This guy replied. Let's see. Okay. He did not reply to me yet. And then I wrote, and then he's doing this war analogy with Patton and acting like, oh, let's see, look what Patton's doing. And he quotes me by saying, if you think he did something that was a legitimate threat to our security, show me a document or a review from the White House that proves otherwise. I think it's a reasonable request. I think this was my last reply. I'm not sure if he'll reply back, but I write, except this is data to our citizens, not our enemies. You act as though our enemies have used this against us as we speak, when the contrary is true. If he was going to give it to our enemies, he would have never contacted the Guardian and said, show this data to the public. A traitor would have jumped ship and not shown anything to us. Again, show me a White House review where it says our security was compromised. And if it was, guess what? That proves mass surveillance is pointless. And I sent him another comment that said, I would also like to add one more thing. If I were in Snowden's position, I would have done the same exact thing, or the exact same thing. I probably could have worded that better, that he did. Another thing you may not know, he once thought exactly the same way you did at a certain point. And I linked him this Guardian article, which essentially shows Snowden's evolution. And I think this is important when we're talking about Snowden getting a pardon, especially when Eric Holder said, he did a public service. He did the right thing. Pardon the guy. One of the things I'd like to bring up is this. Edward Snowden was not a fucking liberal when he was working for the NSA, okay? Very much for the war on terror, voted Republican, a very diehard libertarian, very big gun activist, right? Born in North Carolina. When there was a classified leaked to journalists in 2006, he said something along the lines of, well, I could probably get the Guardian article, but I'm going to see if I can do this off the top of my head. Essentially, it was like, what the fuck is this? Do people realize this shit is meant to be classified for a fucking reason, you fucking idiots? You know, shit like that. And then, ironically enough, we go from that to what he did in 2013. And everyone says, oh, he should have gone through the proper channels. Oh, he should have called this number. Oh, he should have gone to the NSA and reported this. He worked there for fucking years. Probably a decade. He worked there a long time. Believed fully that the procedures that he was participating in were the right thing to do at the time. Now, being that this guy had access to this top secret information and was very trusted, don't you think you know about the fucking procedures? And someone brought that up. Well, yeah, you should know about the procedures. Yeah, maybe you saw the inside of how those procedures are conducted. Maybe being in that environment for such a long time makes you go, what the fuck? And makes you go, the proper procedures, quote unquote, aren't going to do shit. I have to do something crazy. Even if I get caught, so be it. This will be for the greater good of my country. That's exactly what he did. Oh, well, it violates the whistleblower clause of the 1998 Whistleblower Protection Act. And then he starts pulling shit from the Espionage Act. Let me give you perspective of when that fucking espionage bill was drafted, okay? So, let's say, okay, Hillary Clinton's intent, the FBI gives her the pass, but Snowden does the intent. They're like, oh, intent doesn't matter. Why? Because of the fucking espionage bill of 1917. Legislation's almost 100 fucking years old. Okay? Made for a World War I environment. Guess what? They didn't have the fucking computers we have. They didn't have the mass surveillance shit we have. Not to mention, do you know how short that fucking thing is? It is 2 fucking pages short. So yeah, that's a great and reasonable tool the prosecutor has against the defendant. Oh wait, I think that fucks the defendant over and makes his case completely irrelevant. Don't you think that's a little biased? Maybe it's a little bit, I don't know. Not a fair fucking trial at that point. Think, research, before you open your fucking mouths and type. Sorry for this rambling, I'm just fucking angry. Honestly, if you're questioning Snowden's motives and Snowden's patriotism, frankly, you're a fucking idiot. Okay? You're a fucking moron for questioning what this great man did. A nationalist goes along with whatever the government says. A patriot calls the government out on its shit by whatever means necessary. I would also like to point out that without people breaking the law or defying the law, this country would never fucking exist. Guess how we started out? Breaking the law. Guess how the Civil Rights Act started? Guess how the Civil Rights Bill gradually became a thing? Breaking certain laws. Just because it's the law doesn't mean it's right. Live long and prosper and have a nice day.